You know why I'm excited today is I'm excited because finally we're not talking about title insurance. We're not talking about the industry. We're not talking about NAR. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're going to talk about people. So with that being said, I want to open up today, and I'm really excited to be here to talk about tragedy, to talk about triumph, and just honestly, I'm going to open up without crying, but I imagine I'm going to cry at some point, that I really want to bring home today to everybody that everyone responds differently. And sometimes, and I'm sure there were a lot of moments that your tragedies dropped you to your knees, but ladies, there's something inside of both of you that made you get up. And that's really what I want to focus on today. And then I want to talk about, once you got up, you're leaving a legacy because of your tragedy and because of the person that you loved so desperately that isn't here with us any longer. So I really want to bring that home. And I really want to say to our viewers that not everybody has what you both have. Like, you have to look around and see that. And on a really small note, I remember when my son Tyler went to in the Marines, and it really wasn't about whether he was willing to die for our country or not. It was really who he was going to be if he suffered like a physical or mental or emotional experience. Who was he going to be carrying that baggage in this life? So you ladies have been great role models on how to carry baggage. And then I think there's also opportunity to talk a little bit today about your support system. I would suggest neither one of you, maybe you would have, because you ladies have that strength in your guts, but we could talk also about, would you have been so strong if not for the people around you, right? That expression, it takes a village, takes on a whole new meaning. So today I'm Susan West, here just as a human, not representing my company. And I wanted to introduce Jessica, and I want to say Lawson, but it's no longer Lawson, Messer, and it hasn't been Lawson for years and years. But I know Jessica from being a little girl, growing up with my Jessie, and you have of recent experienced a tragedy. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So in 2022, my son Bennett was 18 months old and was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma, which is a soft tissue cancer behind his eye. He underwent months and months of treatment, radiation, chemo. We relocated to Cincinnati to get the best care possible. And he was in remission after 6 months, and we came home and we were happy and picking up where we left off with life. And in October of 2022, he relapsed and his cancer was back. And so we relocated back to Cincinnati, and he underwent several surgeries and chemo again and radiation. And unfortunately, we found out in January of 2023 that his cancer had spread to his brain and that it was terminal. And within a 5-day period of when we found out that it had spread, he passed away. And he was 2.5. So his name is Bennett, and he is our shining star, and we miss him every day.
Every day.
Yes.
And when we talk about we, who are we talking about?
We were talking about my husband Blake and my other son Jameson. He's 6.
And Jameson is 6 and was a wonderful big brother.
Yes, absolutely.
And you were able to go to Cincinnati, and most of that time it was you and Blake and
yes. So the first
Bennett.
Yep. So the first set of our treatment, it was me and actually Jameson and Bennett together. Blake stayed home to work. And then the second time around, when it was a little bit more, we knew that it was more serious, because once a child relapses, there's about a 20% survival rate.
Wow.
And so my husband Blake came with us, and we all 3 stayed at the Ronald McDonald House in Cincinnati, and that was the best decision we ever made, to stay together.
Right. And you had a lot of family support at home.
Yes.
To be able to do that, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So that's so there were heartbreaking moments.
Yes.
But where did you get your strength?
First of all, the Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, I had so much peace that surpasses all understanding. But then our family and our friends. There, I have a group of moms who have experienced all the same things that have been standing behind me, cheering me along the whole way. So yeah.
And the winking
So
warrior.
Yes, the winking warrior. So in treatment, Bennett lost his eye. He lost his right eye, and so he always looked like he was winking at us. And so we decided after he passed that we were going to start the Winking Warrior Foundation. And so we have created that.
And I need you
Yes.
to look at the
Yes.
camera, and I need you to tell our viewers what the Winking Warrior Foundation is.
Okay.
And what you need from people.
Yes. So the Winking Warrior Foundation is a nonprofit that was started by my husband and I in honor of our son. And our main goal, we have 3 main goals. One is to raise money for research, because there has never been a drug or medicine created to treat the type of cancer that Bennett had ever. So one is for research. 2 is for families to get best possible care. And that means whether they need to relocate or get second opinions. Our hope is to help them financially to get to where they need to be to get best possible care. And then 3rd is just to raise awareness and to have people understand that childhood cancer is not as rare as everybody makes it seem to be.
Wow. And I hate that you know the stats.
Yes.
I hate that you know a relapse has 20% chance.
Right.
I hate that for you. But I love what you've done. And we're going to circle back and talk about some of the stats on the money that you've been able to raise so far.
Yes.
And the things that you're doing. And while your and Halie's story is very much different, the strength as women is what I think is just almost unparalleled. And I know Halie because of Sarah, my daughter-in-law, my son Tyler, and then I know your in-laws as well. But Halie, tell us your story.
So in 2020, August of 2020, I lost my husband. He had a venous sinus thrombosis. It's just a blood clot in the brain, in simple terms, and unexpected.
No idea.
No idea. He had a seizure, and that led us to a 2-week hospital stay of fighting, pressure in his brain and just trying to see what would come from that. And it ended up that he just had too much damage from bleeding and the pressure that he had been dealing with. And we knew after about 13 days that the damage done to his brain was not going to allow him to live a life that he wanted to live. So after that, we chose to take him off the ventilator, and he passed away very quickly. But we, at the time, had Noah, who was 3, and Elliot, who was 18 months, and I was 8 weeks pregnant with our 3rd. So that began our journey of figuring out life without Jared and living his legacy and living it for him.
Right.
So it was a crazy time with COVID and all of the things going on, but
you had to somehow grieve and help your children with their grief and figure out a way to keep him in their lives, and they're so young.
They were so young. I mean, they still are, but I feel like they've grown so much in 4 years. But
so where'd your strength come from?
Oh, my faith. I think from day one, when people would be like, I don't know how you do it, I'm like, yeah, I'm sustained. And that was the word that just always came up, was I'm sustained, either by, I know God's with me, my community of friends and our life group at church, and just people that were the hands and feet of Jesus for us during that time. And also just when you have 2 little kids a little boy at home, you can't stop. Like, life goes on, and they were still in school and they were still doing all the activities, and I still had to get up in the morning, and I had to do it.
Right.
So there wasn't an option to just stay in bed and not face it.
There was an option to stay in bed and
right.
not face
This is true.
But both of you ladies, and I'm sure there were days that maybe you slept a little later than usual.
Right.
So I'm sure you weren't perfect in all of it, but you did have a choice to stay in bed and bury your head under the covers and not care for the family that needed you, and you chose not to take that option. So I need you to know that was an option, but you chose to cancel it out, and that's part of what makes both of you who you are,
I think I realized pretty quickly that I had to choose to press in to those people around me that were going to lift me up and encourage me and show up. And
Right. Did most people show up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's our community here is just unbelievable.
So community is so important. Choosing your friends wisely and your community wisely. And I'd suggest to everybody a smaller community is better than a larger one, to have one that you can count on. But you ended up with a very large community, as did you, Jess, which I think just speaks to who you are. So you had a baby growing inside of you through all of this. And
I did.
how did you, I don't know, wrap your mind and your heart around the joy and the pain all at the same time?
I don't know that I ever really did. It just existed together, the grief and the joy, and it still does 4 years later. But I think the one part of me was like, you do what you got to do, and then the other part that's you face the hard moments when they come, whether it was an ultrasound or delivery, first birthdays, whatever they are.
Yeah.
Because you can have both.
You can have joy and pain at the same time.
Yeah.
That is fabulous. Well, I think both of you ladies demonstrate triumph right smack in the middle of tragedy. And I always like to say that we should dance in the rain. And so many people live life what I would call retrospectively, where they get beyond the pain and then they look back and say, oh, here are all the lessons. And I think both of you ladies are examples of women that learn the lessons right in the middle of the tragedy. And that's such an example for the rest of us. I know that Jared had kind of a saying that he lived life by, which was,
"It's fine."
it's
And it was always, "It's fine." Like whatever it was. And usually those moments where I heard that phrase, it was when I thought things were coming off the rails and it was not fine.
right. Did you have moments where you said it is not fine?
Oh, 100%. It's like he was the steady and I was the roller coaster. And so I've taken that phrase that he kind of lived by. And tried to figure out what that looks like for me.
Right.
And it means that things are not always pretty and they're not always great, but it's okay.
Right.
And we can still love our life, even though it's not quite what we thought, because it's fine.
It's fine.
But with that phrase, we kind of, and some other things, Jared had a love for golf and a love for Auburn. We both graduated from there. And before he died, he had actually, 18 months before he passed, he had put a date on the calendar for a charity golf event. He had read a book called Intentional Living by John Maxwell.
Okay.
And with that book, he felt just like this push to do something with his resources and his time and something that he enjoyed doing. And for him, that was golf. And so he'd put a date on the calendar to host a charity golf event. And after he passed, I kept the date, and I had a 6-week-old, and we ran a charity golf event, and we called it Guys It's Fine Golf Classic. And so that was year 1, and we've just kept doing it. So we just finished our 4th year this past May, our 4th annual event. And it's been so cool to see, former coworkers or just new families that we've met along the way that just want to be a part of it. And so it's been pretty cool. The proceeds benefit the Orlando Health Foundation and our endowment that generates a scholarship in Jared's name at Auburn.
So do a quick commercial for your next golf tournament and what you need from people where your golf tournament's concerned. So when it's going to be, and I know we're a year away, but when it's going to be, where it is, and what you need, and where the money goes to.
Okay. The Guys Is Fine Golf Classic, the 5th annual event, will be the first Monday of next May, so 2025. And we have a golf event the night before. We do a big pizza party where we get to meet everyone and just hang out and spend some time together. At the event, you get to play 18 holes at Bay Hill Club and Lodge and enjoy a wonderful golf course. We have a great lunch and just share some of the things that we are doing with Guys It's Fine and what we do with the proceeds. Right now we have it benefiting two foundations. One is the Orlando Health Foundation. We have had emphasis with those donations going to the NICU, but hopefully we'll be doing some stuff with the new children's pavilion that they're working on. And then also we have an endowment at Auburn University that is in Jared's name, and it generates a scholarship annually to an out-of-state student. The last few years has been from the state of Minnesota because that's where Jared was from, but we'll see who gets it this year. We hope you can join us in the future.
Love it, love it, love it. So I connected you with Halie because she had done a golf tournament, and then you were going to do one for the Winking Warriors.
Yes.
And that's coming up, actually.
It is September 13th of
Okay.
this year. Yes.
And I'm almost 99% sure we've already put 4 players in, but if we haven't, it's on our list of things to do. So talk to us about the Winking Warrior Foundation and your golf tournament and what's happening with the money.
Right. So last year we decided to host a golf tournament, and it was for another nonprofit that focuses directly with rhabdomyosarcoma research. And last year we raised $70,000.
Wow.
And I was in awe. And so this year we were like, let's start our own nonprofit. Let's do this so we can do more than just research. We can help families with best possible care. And bring awareness. And so this year we changed up locations. We're doing it at Rose and Shingle Creek in Orlando on September 13th at 8:30 in the morning. And
is there still space for sponsors?
There is still space
and
for
golfers?
we need sponsors and we need golfers.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we will get that information out, and I know I have it on my desk somewhere. So good.
Thank you.
Well, good. But you decided you could do more to have more control.
Yes.
Where the monies are going.
Right. Because
That's-
I want to see the faces of the families that we're helping, and I want to see the purpose behind it all. And sometimes when you just do research, you don't know what's happening in a lab. You just
Right.
And there's a lot that happens, and so
You wanted to have more control.
Yes.
And Jameson is where this week?
He is actually at Camp Boggy Creek at a bereavement camp hosted by Cornerstone Hospice. And he is there with a bunch of other kids that are hurting, but they are having so much fun. I've gotten a few little updates, but they've had a food fight, and they've gone swimming and horseback riding, and
Well, and maybe they're learning what Halie said, which is you can have grief and joy all at the same time.
Absolutely.
Which is beautiful. So what I see as an outsider looking in is you all desperately needed community, but now you both in your own ways have become community. And that is fabulous. Do you have any thoughts to leave our viewers with as we wrap up our conversation today?
I have a quote from the book that I wanted to read that I really liked.
Jess, you better come up with something.
No, I didn't know if it would fit in. I didn't know if it would fit in. So intentional living is about living your best story. When you intentionally use your everyday life to bring about positive change in the lives of others, you begin to live a life that matters. So that's from the book and one of the things a couple of the things that Jared had highlighted. And I try to bring that into my life.
Your life and your children's life.
Yes.
Your 3 children.
Yeah, 3 crazies.
Crazy. Jess, what do we close up with?
Okay. I truly believe that we all have a light inside of us, and that your light can shine dim or it can shine bright. And Bennett shined very bright, and so I hope to take that light within me and shine it as bright as I can in memory of him and honor of him, but for other children and other families that will face this in the future. So, and all of us have a light, and so shine it bright.
We get to choose, right?
Yep.
We get to choose. So even with tragedy, we get to choose.
Yep.
I just want to mention, if you take a look at the screen and in the caption below, you're going to see where you can get involved with the Winking Warrior and with Guys It's Fine. Honestly, if you just watch this and you don't get involved with one of these or both of these organizations, I think there's something wrong with you. So don't be a loser. Be a winner and contribute and get involved. That's my message today. Thanks so much for watching.